Next up, we will hear from Mike Papineau, who will be talking about smartphones revolutionizing eco-friendly practices. Mike is an accomplished CEO and marketing executive with a passion for sustainability and innovation in transportation. As the CEO of RideFlag Technologies, Mike spearheads the company's efforts to promote eco-friendly transportation with its highly accurate app-based high-occupancy vehicle verification tool. RideFlag is now working with major US transportation authorities based in the states of California, Georgia, Colorado, and Utah to deploy its innovative technology in toll lines. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Nina. Appreciate it. As Nina mentioned before, we have very, very good reason to believe that sustainability is important, not only for all of us individually in this room, but for the organizations we work for, but also for our customers who use our roads every single day. So that's really, really important, and we need to consider that when we're developing new technologies. One of the themes that I've picked up, in the last couple of days is that tolling is shifting from a physical to a digital experience. We've heard a lot of presentations, whether it be on road use charge, all electronic tolling, and even the way people actually pay, now through mobility wallets and apps. And with this new technology comes new opportunities, and we need to look at those. Yesterday in particular, we heard many presentations on smartphones and using them as well. And more we're going to see smartphones become an important part of our technology ecosystem and an important tool in our tool set that we need to consider when developing programs in the tolling industry. So there's 3 key points I would like you to take away from my presentation this morning. One is smartphone app tools can promote eco-friendly practices. And I'm just going to show you a couple of examples of some tools that are available to you now that you can use to attain those goals. And you can actually make money, using them as well. So they're available to you now, and this is really important for all of us. The second thing I want to talk about is probably a new concept to you when you read it, but it's something that you experience every day. And that's called frictionless engagement experience with user experience design. Gone are the days where you build an app and you put it out there and you think it's just going to go viral and everybody's going to use it. The relationship doesn't start and end at the transaction. The relation starts way before that and ideally continues beyond that. And I'm going to give you an example of that, okay, and how that works. And then finally, what's really important is that let's not think of sustainability as a cost, as an extraordinary effort that we need to do that may burden our work. Let's think about it as an opportunity not only to engage our customers, but also to make more money. So before I get into the specifics, let's look at what we can learn from other transportation companies and their eco-friendly initiatives. And if I look at, for instance, the shipping and airline industry, they do a couple of things here for their sustainability efforts. One is alternative fuels, of course, with shipping companies moving to fleet electrification, and even airlines moving to SAF, where 80% CO2 GHGs can be saved by using, for instance, municipal waste as ways to fuel aircraft. The second is route optimization and smart logistics. It would be unheard of for logistics companies such as UPS or Air Canada to not use route optimization in order to efficiently route their trucks to destinations. So they have that, in common. And then finally is fleet innovation technology. So renewal of fleet, as an example, UPS is introducing 600 new delivery vehicles in Paris, this year, and even airlines with the introduction of the next generation 787, 350, and 777s promise to save about 30% in kerosene fuel burn. So that's really, really interesting, and there's some things that we can learn from that. And let me share an example of an airline. My trip here to Madrid, first Madrid and then here, and using frictionless design as an example. And what I did is I actually flew with Air Canada from Toronto to Madrid. And my experience with Air Canada started about a month ago when I booked the flight. Air Canada gave me some choices to actually pick eco-friendly routes, which I, and actually many of our customers, are willing to pay more for and choose, over other options. And then there was an ongoing frictionless engagement experience with Air Canada that I had with their app. They kept me updated. There were some flight changes that they made me aware of. My check-in process was very, very easy. And even when I was on the plane, I was made aware of when my bags arrived on the plane. And while I was flying, it was able to tell me in real time where we actually were, in our journey. That is frictionless engagement. And that's what we need to think about when we develop applications for smartphones and tools in the tolling industry. So this is all good. It's a great experience. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate this. How does this help us in the tolling industry? Well, in a not so distant future, we're going to have driverless cars, right? And they're going to use route optimization, electric fleets, for instance, and also optimize capacity. But we're not, there yet. But we're getting close. Another frictionless design experience I had is when I was driving to the airport, I drove in a Tesla. And prior to getting into the Tesla, I put on the app that I was going to YYZ Airport. And when I arrived to the car in the driveway, it was there, and it actually drove me with no interaction from my driveway right to the airport. Okay, so we're not there yet completely, but I hope this shows you that we're getting a lot closer to that driverless autonomous vehicle state, which we might see, within the 10 next years. So we're not there yet, so I promise to tell you what you can actually do now. Okay, so we're not here yet, but that's the future. What I'd like you to think about is our customers, just like customers of Teslas here driving computers on wheels, think of our customers as smartphones on wheels. Okay, so we have a great opportunity to interact with them, have a relationship with them, have frictionless design relationships with them that start very early in the process and ideally not end at all. And think about different tools that you can actually use with those smartphones to engage your customers and to make a sizable impact at creating eco-friendly solutions for tolling agencies. 3 simple examples, that we can use, today. One of them we spoke about extensively yesterday, digital payments, okay, and through applications. And that is eco-friendly for a couple of reasons, at least. One is it removes unnecessary assets, such as transponders, because agencies as well are looking for asset-light solutions and some that cost less. And as well, as we all know, sometimes those toll facilities happen to be the most eco-friendly routes, right, to get to your destination. And sometimes there's a fear, from users that they shouldn't access that because they're worried about the bill that's going to come at the end of the month. So that helps relieve some of that anxiety and can help promote eco-friendly practices and actually help you make more money, at the same time. We spoke about route optimization, and this is probably one of the most underutilized tools available to us and available to drivers right now. And what I'm talking about is turn-by-turn navigation. And many of us use turn-by-turn navigation every day. I'm certainly going to use it today at the end of this session as I'm driving to Manila, and I wouldn't know how to get there, without it, and certainly not without a paper map. Google introduced an eco-friendly solution that offers fuel-efficient routes. Okay, this was launched in 2021 and is now available in 40 countries and, of course, in Europe as well. And what that will do is calculate, for instance, not only the fastest route, but what routes have got hills, which ones are the most eco-friendly to get users to their ultimate destination. Okay? Since the introduction of this in 2021, Google estimates they've been able to save about 3.7 million metric tons of CO2 GHGs, and that's really the equivalent of about taking 650,000 cars off of the road. That's the kind of impact that we can have with maps, for instance. Now, you combine maps with easy access and billing, and you can have an even more frictionless design with users and more reason, to use your application. Finally, another example of frictionless design is one that you've heard me talk about, last year in Athens, and that is occupancy verification. It would be unheard of for an airline or a shipping company to run at 20% capacity and still run their business. Yet that's what we do with single occupancy vehicle use. And that's why we need tools to accurately verify occupancy as well. Last year, I introduced the first phase of a pilot that we did with the Metropolitan Transportation Commission in the San Francisco Bay Area that actually used biometrics to accurately verify how many people were in vehicles. And that was particularly important for them because they're constructing 300 miles of express lanes or HOT lanes in the Bay Area, and occupancy detection is a major, major problem in the area. So I'm pleased to report that pilot was very successful. Now MTC is planning the future phases. And as Nina said, not only that, but since last year, we've entered contracts with several agencies. And this tool is going to be the new way for HOT validation in several markets, starting with Atlanta, Georgia, which is launching the tool as a replacement to their incumbent solution on November 1. So, in summary, smartphone app tools can promote eco-friendly practices. And I hope I've been able to show you that with these 3 examples. And there are more. When you're building a smartphone application, think about user experience design and frictionless engagement. It's not about the transaction. It's about keeping your customer engaged and having more reasons for them to use your tool. And finally, there are ways to make money as well with smartphone applications. And I've just shown you and talked to you about a couple of examples of how to do that here this morning. Thank you very much.